Funny things that kids say. Yeah. Today I'd like to talk about some of the silly and funny things that kids say. It's no secret that kids could say some of the darndest things. Like, sometimes they're extremely truthful, sometimes they just have no meaning whatsoever, and sometimes they're just plain funny. For example, when my little sister just learned how to tie her shoes, she tied them and then she went to go show Mom, and Mom was extremely impressed, and she said, "That's really good, but you got them on the wrong feet." And she's like, "These are the only feet I have, Mommy." So this is a true story that happened in our family when my uncle was just 3 years old. Yeah, he was 3. Okay, I'm gonna start it and be serious, okay? So when my uncle was just 3 years old, his parents were divorced, so he had to fly from New York to California every summer because he had to visit his dad once in a while, so it would be a lot of back and forth trips. And his dad had to go pick him up and then drop him off and, you know, all that stuff. So they decided to maybe call the airline and see if he could go by himself, like with a stewardess, on a one-way trip. And then they said yes, only if he's 5 years old. But he was 3 at the time, so his dad called his mom and told her to tell him that he's now 5 years old. And he liked the idea of being 5. So she told him that when they test you, you put 5 fingers up and say 5. And that worked really well. He passed the test. And when he was in California and the stewardess was handing him over to his dad, she said, I have the funniest little story here. When we were right about Chicago, above Chicago somewhere, I asked him how old he was, and he said he was 5 years old, and he yelled 5, like what kids say once in a while. And then she asked him when did he turn 5, and he said at the airport. So this one time, this little girl was visiting her grandparents, and Grandma told her not to say anything about Grandpa's bald head because he was very shy about it, you know. So when the time came, Grandpa was holding her in his arms, and she didn't know what to say, so she yelled, "Grandpa, you have very nice hair." Oh my God, isn't that like, who could even think of that? Mind blowing. So my auntie had a really interesting experience with her dog when the neighbors got a little fluffy pet rabbit, you know, those little cute things. Yeah, so her dog Ruff could go from one lawn to the other because there was no fence in between. So Ruff liked to, you know, they didn't mind him going around at their place because it was like a bigger space for Ruff. So then when they got the rabbit out on the lawn for the first time, Ruff playfully tried to, you know, play with it. And so they got scared and they told Auntie to tie Ruff up. So for like 2 weeks Ruff was tied up and he did not like that at all. Yeah, it was the first time on a leash. So yeah, Ruff's not the kind of dog that likes to be on a leash. You know, those kind, yeah. And one time when the neighbor said that they were going to go out for like a weekend, my auntie thought it was a good time to let Ruff out to have a nice little run around the lawn because the rabbit's usually safe inside his cage when they leave. So she did that, and not long after Ruff was out, he brought back a rabbit all dirty and dead inside his jaws. And my auntie was like freaking out, like, "No, what happened? Don't, no!" And then so she took the rabbit from him and she shampooed it and dried it and fuzzed it up and made it all cute again, and she put it back into the cage. And the people, when they came back, they saw my aunt inside the lawn and they asked her, they said, "Oh my God, you will not believe." And she's like, what happened? She's like, "Oh no, please don't say it." And then they said this, "You will not believe what happened. Before we left, our rabbit died and we buried it in our yard." And you can just imagine my aunt's response. When I was little, I was very messy. I would never ever clean my room. I mean, it took me a week sometimes, and all the kids I knew were all messy. And so one time my dad was like telling jokes and he asked me to tell one. So I told one, and this didn't make a lot of sense, but I said, I will clean my room every day. And that's a joke, you get it? Because it's a joke, that means I'll never do it. So that was funny. I think I was about like 3 years old or something. Okay. This is a hilarious story. When my best friend was in the 1st grade, she told her teacher, Teacher, does your husband know you have a mustache? In my school, when I was little, there was this boy that smelled so bad, so the teacher asked him, did you poop your pants? And he said, no. I was running to the toilet, but the poop was faster than me. Oh my god, I can just imagine it. I mean, I was there. So once when he had family staying over for a couple of days, in the morning when we were all having breakfast, my uncle wasn't eating his porridge because he doesn't really like it, neither do I. So my little sister told him that if you don't eat your porridge, your poop is going to be mighty hard to get out of your, you know where. I eat my porridge, and since then I haven't had a problem. Oh my goodness, she's hilarious. Got plenty more, but this is all what I can say about her for today. So, thanks for watching, and if you didn't like this video, please give this video a big thumbs up because reverse psychology. Bye!